Whether you're new to pool and practicing the basics, or a more experienced player performing drills to improve your shot making and positional play, the Drill Partner is perfect for you.
What is up, everybody? Good morning. Hopefully, everyone is doing all right. Molina Mike here, and I'm pretty pumped up for this show as I'm trying to get everything dialed in. Let me know in the chat if you guys can hear me and see me all right. I got a great guest this morning. We've had her on probably, I don't know, at least twice now, maybe more. I don't know. It's been a long summer. But I'm excited to talk women's pool, women's World 8 Ball Championship coming up, and then also recapping that Soaring Eagle event out there in Michigan, or I don't know. She'll probably know better than me. Like always, let me go ahead and introduce her. Although she needs no introduction, Miss Shanelle Loraine. Welcome back to the show. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing great. Thanks. How are you doing?
I'm all right. I'm not in rhythm today.
You're a little
I'm,
combobulated.
yeah. That's exactly the choice of words I was going to use, as a matter of fact. But I'm trying. I'm going to will my way into getting into stroke here pretty good. So we'll see how it goes. But are you doing all right?
Oh, yeah, I'm doing great. No complaints. It's beautiful. Another sunny day out in Florida, and I'm happy to be here. Happy to be on the show.
You're in Orlando, right?
I am. I've been in Orlando for quite some time now, and I love it here. I love Central Florida. I don't see myself moving anytime soon. I grew
What
up moving around everywhere, and out of all the places I've lived, I've definitely taken a liking to this area.
What's your nationality, Chanel?
So I'm from Guam. My
Okay.
family, both sides of my family, my mom's side and my dad's side, both from Guam. I've got a little bit of Filipino in me from my dad's side, my grandfather, and then my grandmother on my mom's side. She is from Valdosta, Georgia. So she's curly blonde hair, blue eyes. Sadly, she just passed away at the
Sorry
beginning
to
of.
hear that.
But yeah, I'm, you know, attached to my roots. I love all sides of my family. I spent some time growing up in Guam, so I've got lots of memories from there. Was happy to get to know the culture. My father was in the military, so like I said, I grew up moving around a little bit everywhere. But Guam is my basic bloodline, and then I've been in Central Florida for so long. I'm a Floridian now.
I was gonna ask because you got to be like a special type of person to endure the humidity that comes with living in that area, I'd imagine.
Very true. I love the heat. Cold, cold and I don't get along too well. I love visiting the snow, but that's about it. I don't see myself ever living anywhere where it's super cold and I have to trudge through the snow. I'm definitely a warm weather girl.
Well, it's a perfect time for that, and I can tell you got your tan going on, so I'm sure you're enjoying the summer and all that comes with it. Um, I just get a little red, so for me, it's like I can't. There's no glow. This Mexican just that's it. Just gets
Oh,
red,
there's
and that's
always
about it.
a
Yeah. How have the last few months been for you, Chanel, in terms of you competing as a player?
Oh, it's been great. We had the Soaring Eagle Masters that just finished up this past month in Mount Pleasant, Michigan. And that's always a great event. It's a fun venue, casinos over there. They've got great restaurants. Of course, the field of players, I think, has just been, that was the craziest field. There were just,
Yeah,
there were from everywhere that came out, and it was a super tough field. And man, just the caliber of players that came out was probably the best that we've had in a really long time. So
I was gonna say because when I saw the players list, I was shocked when I saw the unseeded player because I was like, "There's some monsters on the unseeded portion of the field."
everywhere you looked, monsters everywhere. My first draw was Boyana. My second draw was Mina Tani from Japan, and I was really happy to be there. But and I've been working on my game. I've been working on my game for a long time now, nonstop. But I've been putting extra hours in. I recently started working back with an old coach, sometime towards the beginning of the year. And when you have somebody like helping you out, it just
Yeah.
things multiplied. People helping or someone helping placing balls, and giving you some sort of direction of how to practice or what to do or what to focus on, what to work on. He's able to like watch me stroke, the things that I can't see. He definitely helps out with.
It's so important, just to have that same energy around you from someone. A buddy of mine was a little tilted the other day, and then somehow or another we shifted the conversation into hitting back up the gym, and now like I'm sending him photos of how many floors I did on the stairmaster, and just like um, we're gonna turn this ship into a positive direction.
For sure. Yeah, it's definitely helps to have a buddy or somebody riding that boat with you or the wave, if you will, and supporting you and in your background, or in your circle.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. So how come you weren't out at, or you're not out in Green Bay currently for the World 8 Ball?
Yeah, I would love to be there. Unfortunately, I need to work on my rankings because it just wasn't high enough to make the cut for the world ranking event. It's a WPA sanctioned event, of course. WPBA has had three. This is the third one this year. But sadly, my losses against Boyana and Mina, and then before that, I had Brittany Bryant, was my first draw in New York at the RAX event, first event. So I don't want to just blame it on the draw, but there's definitely some killers out there
Yeah,
that have made my ranking a little bit lower, and because of that, I just didn't get an invite, which is completely fine.
yeah.
I just got to work harder.
No, I like it. You gotta turn it into motivation. That's for sure. Let me ask you this: is it pretty spelled out for you girls in terms of like here's the threshold, here's where you have to be at in order to qualify for X, Y, and Z and things like that?
It is, basically the WPBA rankings. They follow that list to a T. There is some flexibility, if you will,
Yeah,
for invites because of like promoter spots.
right.
So sometimes like people that wouldn't necessarily get an invite get invites through the promoter spot, but basically they follow the invites from the WPBA list, and then of course the different federations get their slots and their invites as well for the Women's World 8 Ball event. So there aren't, not all slots are given the WPBA, obviously. So
Yeah.
quite a few were taken up by other countries and federations.
Well, there's some killers out there, domestically and abroad. That's for sure. What's been the feedback like from the ladies on tour in terms of hearing when this Women's World 8 Ball started, and now it coming out already, and time for competition? Like, are they excited? Are they nervous? Because I mean, you girls don't play a lot of 8 ball from what I've seen.
I'm sorry.
I haven't seen a whole lot of women's 8 ball events in my day.
Yeah, there hasn't been too many, but how exciting is it to have, the World Championship back in the US and in Green Bay, Wisconsin? Everyone's super excited. Everyone, of course, wanted an invite. And what I hear just, in our group chats and whatnot, everyone's super excited. They're having the opening ceremony today, actually, on Lambeau
I
Field.
know that's pretty
Oh,
cool.
that's super cool.
Yeah,
Yeah. And all the mini championship pro players that have ran through that tunnel, they'll all get to, come walk through it and be introduced to the field. And I think there's even going to be some NFL players there. So
really.
the hype around it's getting up there.
That feels like proper sport. I'm not gonna lie. And when I saw the flyer and I saw Green Bay, I was like, I don't know about Green Bay. But then I'm thinking
Yeah,
July, you never know. But then when I heard about the opening ceremony, this is the only like FOMO part that I'm feeling right now, because that's pretty special. You don't see that in men or women's, Q sports or anything like that. So to be able to have an opening ceremony where there's been, like you said, legends on that field and coming through those tunnels. So it's pretty awesome.
for sure. It's super cool that they were able to make that happen. I haven't heard or seen anything like that before either. Everyone's definitely really excited. I saw some posts yesterday, everybody arriving in Green Bay over there, and the casino that they're holding it at as well is apparently pretty nice. I've never had the opportunity to check it out, but from what I can tell in the pictures, the Oneida Casino is hot spot to be in. And they're running an amateur tournament alongside with it. I didn't know if you
Really,
know.
I didn't know that. No,
It's a $20,000 added amateur tournament.
what?
Yeah, right. It's crazy. It's called the
I had
Royal
no idea.
Shenandoah Memorial. And that's super exciting. I really wanted to possibly even go out there for that, but I just wasn't able to make the trip this time.
What's it like for you ladies competing when you're side by side with an amateur event like that? I mean, you guys get it a little bit at the Rio, and I don't know how your other events are because really the Rio is the only like women's event I've attended, but it seems to be like there's more fans just by default, right? Because there's so many people, that are pool players in the building. But what's it like for you competing and seeing that difference between your own solo event versus being paired up with a big amateur event?
I absolutely love it. I think the other girls on tour love it as well. Like you said, you get the crowd of pool players, like people that know what's going on, coming out and watching. And even over at Soaring Eagle, we had another amateur event running alongside it, and we had quite a few people that were playing in that come out and watch. And Dr. Poole does a pretty good job in Wisconsin on our tour end of the year tour championship. He also has quite a few amateur events running along at the same time. So this is a great opportunity for us as players, as well as other amateur players that are just playing in the event to come out and check out, WPBA tour stops and higher level, world ranking players.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Well, it's an exciting time. I love seeing growth in the game. Do we know like what kind of commitment that casino has or the promoters have in terms of keeping the women's World 8 ball going over the next few years?
No, unfortunately, I don't know. I wish I had that information. Right now, I don't know about any sort of commitment. I just know about this one event. But I do know there is talk, not even talk, it's definitely happening next year. They're bringing back the Women's US Open in April. I don't know if you've heard that yet, but
No.
that's very exciting. Yeah, it'd be 40 to $50,000 added. And there is talk also of another fourth major. So they'll have some, a lot of good money added and a lot of great players coming out for that as well.
What does that do for you as a player when you see these new events starting to be added? I talked with Vincent from Predator yesterday, and he was mentioning like the possibility of like a national, like kind of like a World Cup of pool, but for ladies in a sense where it'd be like a double. So, what's it like hearing all these new events, coming through the pipeline for you?
Super exciting, for sure. I know all the other ladies I talk to as well as myself. I mean, obviously, the more pool grows, the more interest there is, the more tournaments there are, the more money that's added, the more sponsors are involved, and the more we all get to play. It's what we love to
Yeah.
do, travel as well. So having all of these events added to our tour schedule and even talk of the new ones is awesome. Just awesome thing to see and be a part of. I know even Janet Atwell, she's going to start a semi-pro tour along with
Saw that.
Brunswick semi-pro tour. Had you heard that yet?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm pretty plugged in with Team Brunswick, and
Oh, great.
they've been friends of the show, and I got a chance to meet Janet. I think in Wisconsin actually at the Brunswick factory, and
Oh,
man,
cool.
I went. No, it wasn't cool. It wasn't because I was out there in December and it was
Oh,
freezing,
no.
freezing Chanel. And like you, I'm
When
I'm used to being on the Gulf, so it's like, you know,
Aw.
it was great meeting Janet and all the ladies. I love seeing them. They're all very friendly, but being out in cold, I'm like you. I'm like, oh, not so much, but.
Yeah, I gotta bundle
Um,
for the extra layers. I mean, I like wearing the extra layers and breaking out the boots, but I love coming back to the warm weather.
I only had a track jacket because like when you travel, like I don't know about you. When I travel, I usually wear a long sleeve shirt and a track jacket, so that way, like when I'm on a plane, I don't want to be cold. And so, but I got a bad habit of just like, you know what, I'll just pack and then whatever, and I'm not looking at the weather app. And then I realized I'm going to Wisconsin, and
Oh no.
I probably should have looked at that weather app. It was
Yeah.
freezing out there in December, so
I'm
um,
sure. I can only imagine. Well, I have been there quite a few times in Wisconsin in December, and it is absolutely freezing. And you never know if a blizzard's going to come or if you've got great weather. But yeah, the past couple of times I've been out there, I've seen snow.
well, I think I did too, but I was good with it. I didn't need a blizzard. It was all right. Anytime when it gets below like 50, I'm like looking at when my flight out is. So but let's jump on into women's pool. Let's jump on into recent events. Soaring Eagle, you mentioned huge stack field. Chanel, give me some standouts for you. What were some players that surprised you, or some ladies that you kind of heard about, but maybe just did better than maybe what you expected?
Oh my goodness, there were so many. Obviously, the same names come to mind. Pia Filler, Christina Koch, Margaret Fefilova,
Yeah.
Steyer, and you know, there were like you said, there was such a monster field. You just really didn't know who was going to come out on top, and to have Wei Su Chen win the event, and the finals was against Rita Cho. You know, everyone, there were so many great matchups. I was wanting to be in the room. I got to commentate a couple of the matches, and every single match there was just something to watch everywhere you went. Jasmine Ocean,
Yeah.
all of the wonderful players. So it was really a sight to see. And if anybody's ever around town in one of the events with all of these names that come out, highly recommend you check it out, because it really is something to see in person, with all the tables, all 8 tables going at once, and everywhere you look, it's just people running out, jumping balls, making kick shots, and getting out.
I
It's
wouldn't know what that's like. So I mean, I just not kidding. No, but it's exciting stuff, and you're right. And I love the one thing I can really appreciate about the ladies, besides their like their attention to the social media aspect of it, which I think is huge, especially during big events like that. But it's just how friendly y'all all are. Like whenever you're at an event, like I'm looking over and everyone's just smiles, and I'm like, did she lose or did she win? And it doesn't matter because she's smiling, and it's just positivity everywhere that the eye can see.
Yeah, the camaraderie, I think, on the tour is like none other. There's something to be said, I think, about, like you said, the friendships that are made on tour, and just the good time that we have. I think we all really love playing pool and, doing what we do, and traveling, of course, and competing at a high level. And all of that's definitely plays a part into it. But, when you travel, like you said, and you have the same things that you're into and likenesses with other people, you see the same group of people, relatively the same group of people, over and over at the events. There's bound to be some friendships and camaraderie along the way, and everybody's going to have a good time usually.
Well, I saw like the post from you in your story where you were doing like the headstand, and so I'm
Oh,
curious. Do you know of any other ladies on tour that can do that? Because that takes a lot of core strength to be able to maintain that, and especially when I saw you kind of do this number here, I was like, oh man. Any other ladies that kind of have that same yoga high Fargo skill, if you will?
yoga Fargo skill.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure. No one's ever really reached out. I know we had a tour stop some time ago. It was actually around Borderline, and Jen Beretta, actually, she was like, "You're going to yoga?" Because sometimes on my downtime, if I have like a day off or the day before the tournament, then I'll find a yoga class in the area, wherever it is that I
Just
travel.
hop on in, huh?
Yeah, she came out, and that was fun. But as far as like headstands and all of the other balancing things and tricks, I'm not too sure. I know I've seen on Boyana's social media that she does Pilates, but I'm not too sure what type of yoga, if any, that she does.
Like I've been trying to get my girls into doing it, especially to start the day, because just to get everything moving right, getting that flexibility, the blood flow, all that, and then it's like it's when they see the videos and stuff, and we're trying to imitate, and dad's falling over like a log, you know what I mean? They get a pretty good kick out of it, but
You just got to
uh,
do it on a soft surface, make sure it's not a hard surface or
yeah,
anything that when you land you're going to hurt yourself. But it's good to try it out. And I mean, sometimes people will message me and say, like, how do you do that or whatnot, and I'll just, it's taken many years, and little by little, just like with pool, you got to start
yeah.
somewhere. And the more you work on it, usually the better it is that you get, and you just, focus and concentrate. And if you really enjoy it and you love it, stick to it. Hopefully, you'll get better, along the way. And
Or you'll get a concussion, one of the two. It's like either either or, either or. And another thing I love about the ladies is that a lot of them I see take it really professionally in terms of like y'all's health and y'all's fitness and just your diet and all that good stuff. Because I'm seeing all of them head out to the gym and
yeah.
on social media and stuff like that, and they really treat it more like sport or like an athlete. Would you agree that it's real health conscious on tour?
I do. I agree. I think more of the up and coming players, or even like, the old school players are catching on or have, like Mika's always been into his health forever, for as
Yeah.
long as I can remember. Actually, you know what? Mika, not talking about the girls, but the guys,
Sure.
some years ago, Mika posted something and I had no clue that he was into hot power yoga. And he did some crazy tough balancing act that I definitely can't do, but like he's
Really?
really well. Yeah.
I can see that because he was always super fit, man. You know,
Yeah.
like he always seemed real lean and, didn't have a lot of body fat, just looked like he ate right and took care of his health for sure.
Always working out, and definitely like you were saying, like more of the, like I see Margaret, with her social media posts and
Yeah.
whatnot, she's always in the gym working out. I know Christina Zlateva, she's a runner for sure. She'll get up and run, like before an event, before she plays anybody in the morning. Sometimes we've shared an Airbnb together, and she's just out running in the morning. I'm like, I always tell her, be careful or watch out because you don't know like the neighborhood or whatnot, but it's like not a thing for her.
Yeah. Well, I yeah, I can see that because you don't know the area,
Uh,
so that's
yeah.
why. But that's why I can look. While I enjoy a good Airbnb, that's why I love a hotel because it's like I'm always looking at the gym and making sure that everything's working right, or I'll call ahead of time because the one thing that just tilts me like no other is when I go to the hotel and I'm excited to work out, and I'm going to change and heading downstairs, and then it's like under construction, and I'm like, oh
Oh no. Yeah. Jasmine's another one. She's out there always in the
yeah,
gym, not in the morning, late at night, always see her in there. There's a handful of girls that definitely pay attention to, working out, eating right, doing all the right things to possibly improve their game, their mental ability, and focus. I think that's definitely a part of the reason why I do the yoga.
So when back to Soaring Eagle, Chanel, when I saw some of these ladies, you mentioned like Pia amongst others, and she had a real heartbreaking match against Wei. I don't know if it was in the final or maybe it was a semifinal where she missed like an 8 ball or something. But
Yeah,
um,
I think it was
I
a
was
semi.
I was curious, how do you girls bounce back from like a loss like that? Because that was pretty big spot, pretty tough spot to miss a ball, especially as she was clawing back to getting back in that match.
These ladies are champions and world ranking players for a reason because they just, I think I try to model my game after theirs, the higher ranked players, obviously, of course, because they just seem to bounce right back. You just got to brush it off. And because if, obviously, if you focus on the negative and your misses, that's just,
Yeah,
that's not going to do anything great for your mental stability. You got to
right.
focus on the present and what's possible for the future and what you're going to do and what you set out to do versus what had happened and what
Yeah.
the negative things that could possibly happen. I think if
But you're
at least
human though, like yeah, I mean, like it's great if you're emotionless, right? But like, you know, it's all like in theory that's gonna work out. But like I remember a miss from like, a year ago,
yeah,
when like nobody was watching, you're playing for like 50 cents a game or something,
yeah,
so
it can
I
really
can
eat
only
you up,
imagine.
really can eat you up for sure. But I don't know, I just think like the best way to go about it is to, like you said, kind of, I don't want to say be emotionless, take
Yeah,
your losses and your misses and learn from them for sure, take those things, maybe even write them down after the match and work on them. I know that's what I like to do. Go back to it and work on it. But when you're in the game and in the present moment, when you've got another game to play and another ball to make, focusing on the miss that just happened isn't going to help you make
yeah.
any of the future balls that you need to,
I guess you're right, Chanel. Yeah, I guess you make sense when you put it like that.
all the things.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of actually doing it. It's like talking about it and doing it's, completely different. I strive to be there. It doesn't always happen, but, you just keep on going one step in front of the other and work on the things that you can improve upon.
Let's transition over to the women's world 8 ball, Chanel. I looked at the draw a little bit yesterday, but I don't remember it, and I don't have it up for you guys, unfortunately. But you guys can check it out on Digital Pool. I posted the link on Windows Open as well, so you guys can check that out on there. Draws out. So give me some players that are kind of coming to mind for you before the draw, in terms of ladies you're going to be looking out for in this upcoming World Championship?
Well, there are definitely some killers again from all over the world, full 64 player field. And, Kelly Fisher's one that stands out. She's, got some world championships behind her, has so many
For
accolades
sure.
and titles, over, I think, 60 WPBA titles. Um,
Really? Is that right? 60?
I think so. That's what, I Googled it once upon a time. That's what it gave to me. So I'm gonna try, and I think I'm gonna say that, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the information is that I received. I'd like to think that it is. I know she's definitely
Wow.
a Hall of
It's
Famer.
believable because
Well, I
she's
mean, the
yeah,
WPBA has been around, like next year is 50 years.
really.
So it's definitely the possibility. Maybe it's not all WPBA titles, but I wouldn't put it past her to be, titles in general over 60 for sure.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
a list. All of your regulars, like I mentioned before, fun to look out for. Pia, Margaret, Christina. I'm always excited to watch. I love her game. And she has two European 8 ball championships in her back pocket as well. So I think she's definitely going to be one to look out for this event. That's easy to say, but I think definitely she is going to be one to watch. Who else is there? It's fun to always watch, Sophia and Savannah.
yeah.
Jordan Humphrey is going to be there, or is there at the event. A lot of players from Japan and Taiwan. All the European players. It's just a monster field. And what's even more exciting about this event is that X Pool Live is teaming up with Lonnie Fox Raymond. Did you see that?
I
They
did. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Kyle. Yeah.
have 4 streaming tables simultaneously. So not only can you just watch 1 or 2 matches, but you can watch 4 matches at a time out of the 8, and get to watch all the high level play. So super
Look,
excited for that.
that's super important. I love, coming into 2025 with streaming because, not all promoters do that stuff. And Lonnie does a great job. WPBA in general have done a great job in stepping up their game over the last couple of years. But I love having more tables to watch as a pool fan, and especially when you bring in international players, because everyone wants to watch their lady do well. They're, the one they're rooting for. And
For
so the more opportunity you have to put eyes on there, and that way, listen, you can't be the bad guy when you're choosing a TV table. It's like, well, there's 4 options, so
That's
it's
right.
it's massive. On the note of Christina and her European 8 ball championships, like that's next level thinking there because and I try to like dissect like that when I'm thinking about how I'm picking a winner because
Yeah.
um you don't have a big sample size and there's no, like I mentioned, you girls don't play a whole lot of 8 ball, but the Europeans have a bit of an edge because they do have that experience playing in the European championships. But like Christina and Margaret, I don't think they've played those in a few years. So, like, how much is that going to really weigh out in terms of where they're going to finish? Christina's been playing great, it seems like, for the last, 2 years
Couple.
plus. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
expect a super high finish from her for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, I'm excited to watch. And I think just having those in her back pocket, like I said, and then combined with her high level play the past 2 years, she'll definitely be a top contender for this event. And then, of course, there's all the other, like the Asian players and European
Yeah.
players that have world championships that have been at that high level for, under pressure
Yeah.
and just focus. So I think it's going to be a combination of conditions, as well as a focus, and maybe even just like the matchups. I know the draw is out.
Huge. Yeah.
Didn't get the chance to like really go over it, but man, am I excited to like watch, who's matched up against who and how they pair up against one another. It'll be super exciting to check out.
Well, the draw is big, but what I love is when you have these like, and I love when you have the seating, but only when that other side of the bracket is filled with tough players, because then it's like, I mean, you can get a cupcake draw, and I'm sure nobody wants to admit it, but they're out there, and but watching out for that is important. But you got to have a little bit of luck on your side in order to parlay into a strong finish. Playing a tournament like that, I'd imagine.
Yeah, for sure. And like you said, like this particular event, there is the top 32 are seeded, and then the other 32 are drawn in. But there is no cupcake match here, like you said. All of them are going to be great and fun to watch. Super exciting, and I can't wait to see the semifinals and the finals. I mean, I'm probably jumping ahead of myself here. There's so much pool to watch in between, now and Sunday where the finals happen. But
Well, I think like one thing I appreciate about eight ball is just seeing dealing with issues. Like I love the moving part of it and the decision making. And so to be able to see these top players dissect the rack and the table and things like that, I'm excited to watch. The girls not playing a whole lot, like I mentioned. I'm excited to see, who's a stronger rotation player that maybe has not as good of a tournament or even better tournament than maybe as expected, given everything going on. But I kind of want to put you on the spot here. You mentioned a few of the Europeans, and I want to start there. Give me who you think is going to finish furthest amongst the European ladies.
so,
And by the way, I did not give Shanelle a heads up here, so it's completely on the spot.
I don't know. I wish I had like a list in front of me. I'd probably like name all of them if I could. But I don't know. Pia's super focused right now. And like I said before,
Yeah,
Christina, she's always one of my tops and has been on a roll
has
for
to
some
be. Yeah,
time. So I can't discount her. She's definitely up there with one of my picks. Um,
and then Kelly. Like, I
oh
mean,
yeah, Kelly. I mean,
it's like,
I guess since Kelly's here in the U.S., you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
forget. But
there you go. Yeah, yeah.
she
We'll
is.
take her. We'll
Yeah, we'll
gladly.
take
What?
come on
Yeah,
over.
yeah.
Yeah. No, but yeah, Kelly with I mean, she even had the Chinese eight ball championship that she just had. Well, not just in 2016, I think it was. So she's got some great
I didn't even
experience.
think about that. That's a big experience of playing, and
Yeah.
plus she's got that UK background as well. I think I
Yep.
might have to change my pick.
Silver champion as well. I mean, before she
Yeah.
switched over to pool. But yeah, Kelly's got obviously some mini accolades and years behind her. So yeah, those would be my picks for the
No, no, no,
European.
no, no. Oh, time out, time out. We need a pick. One pick.
A pick. Oh
Yeah,
no.
yeah. We need one pick. Come on. We're gonna break some hearts here today, Chanel.
All right. So since I've been talking about her so much, I'll go ahead and say Takach. Christina. Christina from is my pick.
I like it. I like it.
Easy one to pick right now.
No,
And
I mean it.
so,
It is, but it isn't. I mean, look, as much as you can make an argument for her doing extremely well in this event, and obviously current form is going to be massive, and her confidence with her history is going to be massive. But then, like I mentioned, there's still that unknown of not seeing her play eight ball or not competing in a European eight ball championship in quite some time because she's been here in the States for it seems like a few years now. So. Um, how rusty is she going to be, and with this field do you have time to kind of like find a gear if you're not already in eight ball gear, and then how's the break going to be because the eight ball break is so tough and goofy, and yeah, it's hard to get a ball down. It's impossible for control, and so what's the luck factor gonna be like? I like the Christina pick, I do, but then
who's your, who's
I
your pick?
think I think you talked me into Kelly, honestly, like when you
Okay. Just sitting here
mentioned
with her.
Chinese eight ball.
She's
Look, she knows the game. She understands the moving part of it and the proper decision making. She's rubbing elbows with like the who's who of top male,
mhm.
UK eight ball champions, and like the likes of like a Chris Melling type guy comes to mind, and so she knows the game. She's got roots in the game. She's all like it's tough to say that Kelly's in gear because she's always in gear and she's always been in gear.
Yeah,
So.
she's there.
um but like Margaret could make a push like you mentioned. Then there's who was that lady who won that event at the end of last year? Was it Borana? And I don't think I don't even really know who she
Boyana
was. Yeah.
fits.
And
Yeah.
so it's like, could you have a lady like that come in? I saw
For
like there
sure.
was a Polish flag on there in the field as well. So it's like,
There's so
I don't
many
know.
being represented. It's
Yeah.
yeah. There's definitely it'll be interesting to watch. Don't forget also. I just came to mind April Larson. She has been playing a lot of hay ball lately with the smaller
Yeah.
pockets, and so I wouldn't discount her either.
Well, since you brought it up, let's transition over to the Americans. Who do you think is gonna last the longest with those American ladies that you mentioned? There's quite a bit of them in that field as well.
There is. There's so many you're asking. You're putting me on the spot.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Brittany's been playing. Oh, Brittany's Canadian.
Yeah.
Um,
She's my top Canadian pick for sure. Yeah. No, just
okay,
yeah, no, I'm kidding.
Canadian. Man, U.S. women. I don't know. Kind of drawing blank. There's so many. There's so many great players.
You know what? We dogged it, Chanel. Look at this comment here from Allison. She mentioned Jasmine. We didn't even mention Jasmine.
Oh,
We just
Jasmine! Wow, we sure did dog it. Oh my gosh.
oh man.
Forget about Jasmine. I mean,
She'll
she's
probably be in the finals now, thanks to us, you know.
we need
All
more,
right.
help
So
with the section.
you mentioned April, you mentioned some of the younger ones in Sophia and Savannah, but I wanna if you're gonna go and you know put the Shanelle Loraine flag on one player to last longest amongst the Americans, who you picking?
You gonna give me a group to pick from? I don't
Okay,
know.
let me bring up some ladies here because there's a lot of American players, and I don't know if that's because of where they're at in standings or because it's being played here in the U.S. And let me see if I can bring up the list here. So we have Savannah Easton, April Larson, Ashley Benoit, Kennedy Mayman, Ashley Rice, Emily Duddy,
Emily,
Janet
Emily
Atwell,
at
Lori
Old
John.
School Championship. Lori John is playing. See, and she's got some world titles, 6, I think, behind her. So, man,
Lonnie's gonna be playing and commentating. Man, they
yeah,
hope they pay her
Lonnie is
good.
something else. Lonnie always plays and commentates. I really don't know how she does it. I absolutely,
Impossible.
whenever I get in the box to commentate, I'm always like, after my match, or if I get some
Yeah.
time, later. I never really want to do it while I'm playing. So yeah, Lonnie's special for sure. She's great like that.
There's a lot of girls. Jordan Helfrey, Angela Yannick, Rachel Lang.
Not fair. You're listing like so many of my
I know.
favorite players.
Haley McIntosh, Joanne Mason Parker, Brianna Miller, Sarah
Man,
Miller, Stephanie Mitchell, Caroline Powell. I
oh,
mean, there's a
Caroline,
lot
how
of
did I forget?
Susan Williams. There's a lot of American ladies to choose from.
Joanne's been playing really strong as well, and she's another one that's super focused and that I love to watch. I know everyone's working on their game so hard. That's such a tough pick. Who would you pick, Mike?
Oh, okay. So if I'm sticking with that same formula like we did the last one,
Okay,
April's hayball experience is going to serve her well in this tournament for sure, but it's like it can only get you but so far because there's monsters no matter what, and so but I think she's got a slight edge. Sophia plays a ball really well, and I think that's her favorite game, and I've seen
really?
her play a ball in junior nationals, and she always does really well. And so but man, I don't know, now you kind of put me on the spot here now that I'm thinking about it. So
At the beginning of the year over at Rax, I saw Sophia. She beat Christina Tkach over there in eyeball. So her nerves and her focus are really on point. I think, especially this year. I'm not quite sure how
see,
far
and I like those points, Chanel, because I feel like matches like that, like, okay, she may not have won the tournament, right? But like that victory is going to serve her well when
it
she starts coming into tournaments like this,
was ridiculous. I sat there and I watched that match. It was absolutely something to see if you could find it. And I don't know if she was streaming it, but she usually does. But it was amazing. She played phenomenal. I mean, she always plays phenomenal, but that match was crazy.
Well, let me ask you this before I give you my last longer for the women's on the American side. How come Allison's not playing in this event? Do we know? Is she still like? I know she was having like
Some shoulder
shoulder
issues.
issues or something. Yeah, when I seen her in Green Bay.
I haven't talked to her recently, but she wasn't over at the. She has missed out on a couple of the tournaments, unfortunately. I did think that it was because of her shoulder, but honestly, I
Yeah.
can't speak to that because I didn't ask her directly. I don't know if it's something else or just that, or maybe she's given it just a break for a little bit. Cannot
Yeah,
reflect.
you gotta rest up for sure, especially if you're injured. But Allison probably would have been my pick. No disrespect to the American ladies, but if you're gonna, since you're asking, and well, I guess since I asked and then you asked, I'm probably I'm gonna go with Sophia. You know, I think she had a really good run in the women's World 10 ball. Not in the junior, I mean, and the junior championship as well, but in the women's World 10 ball, like, you know, open field to everyone, she had a really good run. And so I think that experience is gonna um, serve her real well. Those match wins, like you mentioned, you know, with the likes of Christina is going to be great. Plus, she's American and she plays 8 ball and she grew up, I'm imagining, on the bar table and playing that game quite a bit. And so I think that pattern play and decision making is gonna be in her favor. But I mean, I could really make an argument for like maybe 3 or 4 other ladies too as well. So it's a tough pick, but I'm going with Sophia for the
I like
American.
your pick. I like the reasons, and I mean, I love Sophia as well. I mean, I know that that's not the only reason why to choose her, but she, like you said, you know, she's got some great matches under her belt, and she's got a lot of grit and
She
focus.
does.
Recent, so I really like her style of play. You know, she's like completely different off and on the table, but I think that's what you need to have in order to, you know, do great in an event like this.
At what point did they stop becoming like cute girls who are playing pool? Like, I mean, like, young ladies who are playing pool, like a cute story versus like, okay, they're coming for me, and like,
Yeah,
because I remember seeing that transition when I would watch like Savannah. And I remember, I'll never forget, it was in Michigan and it was seeing her play a match against Jasmine. And it was, this must have been at least probably like 2, 3 years ago. But like, and when I first started going to junior nationals, it was like, these are cool stories, kids playing pool. But then I was like, man, they can play. Like they're
they
not, they're
really
not like they're not just a good story. Like they're
right.
coming, and you kind of saw even in matches that she would lose, you would still see like, man, that's gonna give her some really good seasoning going forward. And then now, she parlays that into consistency, in that field. And so, but like there was a point where like they weren't just great young ladies playing, and they were coming for your butt. They were coming to compete with you.
They are coming to
Yeah,
kill whoever it is that
yeah,
they're not, like you said, they're not just like cute, sweet kids off
yeah,
the, and although, you know, all of them, they smile and they get along
yeah,
with everyone real well. They are fierce competitors when they get on that table. And I love that they're like just fearless, you know, at that
yeah.
age. Like when they're young, it seems like, you know, they really just get in there and give it their all without any sort of fear or hesitation behind it. So that's
Yeah.
so a pleasure to
You
watch.
it's we're real fortunate to be able to see that with the WPBA and their streaming, to like, you get to see great matchups and you get to see great tournament wins and see their progress and see them have heartbreak, but then at the same time get redemption maybe in the next one, and then start taking their own place on that biggest stage. So I mean, it's super cool. I'm not gonna let you off the hook though. Who's
Okay.
your American player to go the furthest in this tournament?
I hate to pick the same person that you're picking, but I'm going to pick Sophia as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, now she's
I mean,
now.
she's a junior, but she's got a lot of. I mean, there's so I don't know. I keep on going back and forth. I want to say there are others to choose from, but
Yeah.
Sophia's got that constant like rise this way. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That constant like upslope. So I'd like to see her continue that, and I think that she will. You know, she's been nonstop playing, and
She's had
shows.
results too, Chanel. Being a world champion in her own right on the junior side of things, and even though like the world probably doesn't give respect to American players in general, we had 2 young ladies in the world championship this past year, which was awesome, and Sophia and Savannah, in a final. So it's
As well, you know, Savannah's going to be great to watch as well.
yeah.
You can't make me pick just one. You know, I love them all.
Okay, okay, all right. You know what? I'll tell you what. You're right. I can't let you pick them all. I'll let you pick one more. So you got Sophia as one.
Oh,
Now
okay.
break some more hearts. Who's going to be your
Okay.
second?
Okay. Let me pick two. That's
Yeah,
so much easier. I don't know. I like April because she's been playing hay ball,
yeah.
and I think it's a little bit tougher with the smaller pockets. However, who else has been playing amazing right now? I mean,
I
Savannah.
love
So
yeah,
I
Savannah.
there's there's so many good ones. Jeez.
All right, I'm not gonna pick two because I don't want to piss anybody off. So we're not gonna.
Oh, okay. You just let me do
I'll,
it all. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. See, we put the guests on the spots for sure. So, all right. Look, we're gonna transition over to the Asian players. There's a ton to choose from, representing countries like Taiwan and Japan and you name it. So, Give me your top Asian finisher for this Women's World 8-Ball Championship.
You're gonna make me pick one, huh?
No, actually, you know what? I'll give you two because it's tough to pick on the Asian side. I mean, there's some tough ladies who have traveled over here to go and compete.
I like Wei and Rita for their
Okay.
experience.
They're ranked number 3 and number 4. It looks like on the top 32.
And in this event, is she on that list? Because if
Who's
she
that?
is, obviously, Siming Chen.
No, I don't think she's here. And I was going to ask you about that because I don't see Ximing, I don't see like Han Yu or Louis Xia, which I know she represents China, but
Uh-huh.
I was surprised we didn't see at least
He's
Ximing here.
top contender as well. And
It's tough, man. I mean, let me see here.
I don't know how to actually. I feel bad because I feel like we're friends. Wang Wanlin. I think she goes by Enzo.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, she's here. She's from
She-
Taipei. She's ranked number 8. Mhm.
And she's going to be a top contender as well. I've been watching her and watching her practice, and she's been doing great over there in Taipei. So she's. I think she'll be one to watch out for as well.
All right. Well, you forgot to mention, by the way, there's a Filipino player in Cheska who's here as well. So
How could I forget? Yeah,
how could anyone forget her?
She just had a birthday.
She did, yeah.
Birthday to her, but yeah, Jessica, like my gosh, like just I love watching her play. She's so fast and just accurate and fearless again. Like she's another one of the fearless ones. So I don't
Her
know.
game kind of reminds me of Mika, just she makes it cool to watch pool, like because it's like she's not afraid to go 2 rails all the time.
That's exactly. I think of that one particular shot that I'm sure everyone's seen on social media where she goes like 2 rails. The ball isn't in any sort of like easy. It's not even hanging in the pocket, but she hits it perfectly and
Pure.
it goes right into the.
She doesn't waste time. I love her pace of play, and it's like, and then whenever she's done, she just packs up her cue and that's it. And then, oh, by the way, she's probably going to be in the semifinal at worst, So it's like but I love the way she plays. I feel like that's such an underrated thing when it comes to like growing the game because pace of play for some boys and girls can be brutal. Where I'm like,
it can. She's super fun to watch. She really is.
All right, so give me I'll give you 2. Give me a top 2.
Make me pick. All right.
Well, I'm gonna make you pick a winner too in the whole tournament. By the way, here in a minute. So we're leading to it.
All right. I'll pick Jessica. And
okay.
My Asian picks.
I probably shouldn't have mentioned Jessica. I should have just kept that one.
Keep it quiet so you could like keep it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Rita's been playing so strong, but Wei just had that win in Soaring Eagle.
Yeah. It's tough. It's really tough.
I say Jessica and Wei for my Asian picks.
Okay. I was gonna go Cheska as well. Yeah, I'll stick with Cheska for staying for the single pick in each area. But man, that field in particular of player is going to be super tough to like navigate for everybody, and the thing about 8-ball, it's like one mistake, and when you talk about that caliber of player, it's like they're going to run out. You know what I mean? So like if you don't get to where you need to get to, players like that, they're going to punish you. So
they are so fun. Just figuring out the puzzle and like seeing which route the player chooses to like take, or if they're going to play safety along the way, or it's going to be so much fun to watch.
It's decision making, and then mixed in with high level pressure as well, and then being out of their comfort zone. I just look, I love seeing girls play 9-ball and men play rotation, but like I like seeing different dynamics in pool, like the Scotch doubles or whatever, and in this case, the 8-ball, because they don't get to play it a whole lot. So, yeah, I'll go Cheska as well. But, it doesn't, okay, I'll stop there. Give me who you think is going to be in the final first. Open field, you can pick whoever you want. Who do you think is going to be in the final? Last 2 ladies standing. We're gonna eventually get to a point where Chanel's gonna start coming up with hot takes.
I don't don't know. Jasmine's a contender. They're all contenders. That's what's so
Yeah.
hard about it. But I think with the 8 ball accolades and her constant slope upwards, Christina Takacha's got to be up there. Is what that's.
Okay. All right. So we got one finalist. Let's hear the other one.
Uh-oh. Who's going to be the other final? I wish I had a list in front of me, but they're all killers. Kelly's a possibility.
Man, the more you're going, the more I'm starting to shift the picks in my head.
Jessica.
So,
Jessica's the other finalist.
dang, man. I shouldn't have mentioned her. You weren't even going to remember about her until I brought her up just a little bit ago. I already know. Well, you can realistically make an argument for probably like a dozen or so ladies, and legitimately it could go that deep, if not deeper, in terms of who can make it. And this is all for fun, obviously. But look, I think I'm going to go with an all Asian final, and I hate to kind of go that route only because, like, people say, "Oh, well, Fargo's so high" or whatever. Like, that 8 ball experience is going to be big, and I know that the Taiwanese players don't play it a whole lot, like compared to, let's say, like Chinese 8 ball players per se. But they play the game so well. I saw an interview where Wei was saying she was getting tips from like Ryan Su, and Ryan was in the finals of the men's World 8 ball championship. Great player, by the way, young kid from Taiwan. I'm going with an all Asian final. I'm going with Cheska as one of my finalists along that same line, but I'm going to go with Rita Chow. And
she was on the tip of my tongue with the other.
Yeah, she's and look, you mentioned Wei. Of course, she's going to have some momentum coming off with Soaring Eagle.
But Rita was final with her, so and she was like,
yeah,
she played great. They both played great all tournament, but yeah, and Rita's got a lot of championships under her belt as well, so it's not like she's a stranger to that type of focus and stamina that she needs to have.
Yeah.
But the travel is also a factor as well for the Asian players, and some of the players coming, that's having to take 2, maybe even 3 days to make it to Wisconsin. So
when you're going on that side, Shanelle, like when you're traveling to Asia, how long does it take you to get acclimated, or what are you doing to kind of get out of the jet lag?
It's been some time since I've been over to Asia, but when I was traveling pretty often, I had a little trick to stay up like 24 hours before I had my.
This is a family friendly show, by the way, Shanelle. What's the trick? Let's hear.
Sleep deprived, right?
Yeah.
Sleep deprived myself for like 24 hours on U.S. soil, and then when I had that long flight,
what are you doing? Just hopping up on coffee the whole time?
No, I just pack and work and do whatever else it is that I need to do. Everything kind of like last minute, and then sleep on all my flights if possible, on the long flights over to Asia. And then when I get there, it's usually, you arrive in the morning, or I would, and be right on schedule. So I really didn't feel like too much jet lag. It was always like when I came back from Asia that I would really feel it, like maybe even like the second or third day after getting back home. But yeah, just sleep deprive yourself, sleep on the plane as much as possible, and then yeah, just go about your day. And there's also things that I've learned like recently that players could possibly do. I've heard that it helps with jet lag and different time zones and traveling and whatnot. Is getting like sunlight in your eyes first thing when you wake up. Not sure if you've heard of that. Yeah, 10 to 15 minutes of sunlight in your eyes when you wake up. Huberman is a big person, is a person that highly recommends that. Obviously, no blue light after the sun goes down. Try to keep all the.
What does that mean, Shanelle? No blue light. What does that mean? Wait, what are you like? Do you have a black light in the house that you keep on regularly after sunset?
No, you just gotta they have those like red lens glasses now that apparently filter all the lights that you're not supposed to see. Because like back in the day, in the caveman days, they would have like fire after dark, right? So it's like more like red, low light, nothing crazy, no bright arena lights, but at nighttime. But yeah, that definitely helps with like your circadian rhythms and your sleep, making sure you don't stare at your phone too late and all the things.
Yeah. Like
Hydration.
I love sleeping with open windows, natural light, all that good stuff. It really helps. And Shane Tyree gave me some advice one time because he travels a lot for his gig with the BCA and WPA, but he was like, the sunlight in the morning for sure was one of them, but then he was like, just go walk outside barefoot. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, you become one with the earth. And I'm like, what is going
For
on? But I'm
sure.
gonna try it. I'm gonna try it
Oh,
for sure.
definitely. Yeah, it's something I think, what did I hear, like the ions and, the dew on the grass. It helps to like wake your body up and kind of like Shane said, become one with the earth, and listen to the
Yeah.
birds and look at the sunlight if you can, and absorb all of that, and your body like naturally, like, hopefully will set itself.
Look, things like jet lag are things that I'll take into consideration when I'm looking at an event, especially depending on the player and where they're coming from. Like if a guy just gets there a day or two before versus a guy who's been there for 2 weeks already playing in that, tournament prior to, I'm going to favor him some, especially like if it's close in terms of comparison.
Yeah,
I love the prestige of having a new world championship. And I think I've seen online where like, if it's not the first one, it's the first one in quite some time, at least for you ladies. Um, so I think everyone's obviously been taking it pretty serious. Big prize money at stakes. The pregame is going to be at what's that?
$125,000, I believe, for this pregame.
Yeah, yeah. What's the winner? Do we know? Is it going to be like 40 or something? 30
It's got
ish?
to be. It's got to be around that. I didn't take a look at the payouts, but I'm sure all of that will be listed on Digital Pool.
We'll post it on there. But it's super cool. Look, I love seeing growth in the game, and as much as I feel like it can be difficult, like um, because everyone's trying to pull from the same pie in terms of promoters and trying to find places to host events and things like that. Like seeing a casino step up and put up that type of money along with Olhausen and the other sponsors for the event is just awesome to see.
There
Um,
with as one of the main sponsors of this event as well. I saw them, the Peach Hour crew
oh
on
yeah, yeah,
the live draw yesterday. That was cool. And I think they're actually like based out of Wisconsin as well. So that's super neat that they're able to like help out and be involved in the event.
well, you're right. But I feel like it's also a responsibility, and it's great to see companies kind of like own up to that to some degree, which is great. And Peach Hour, I've met the son, I've met them, the two sons and the father before at the trade show, but they're all really great guys, really nice. I met them along with Dan from Olhausen at the
Yeah.
trade show, and they were giving away like a combo. They were raising money for wounded warriors, and
Oh,
one of them, yeah, it was a great cause that I didn't even know until I walked up there. Um, Olhausen gave away a table, and Peach Hour gave away this monster cube. I mean, it was probably over 10 grand worth of stuff. But I was like, you guys just doing it for wounded warriors, which is awesome. And so,
yeah,
um,
that's
it's
super cool. I didn't know about that. I love them even
yeah,
more.
you can't help but have a soft spot for them. But it's cool to like, as the industry is growing and the professional side of the game is growing, you're seeing companies kind of, come alongside with that, whether sponsoring players or in this case sponsoring big events, things like that. So, kudos to them for getting involved, and
Sure.
of course the WPBA for helping along with that. Give me your winner before I get you out of here, Chanel.
Oh my goodness. Like,
Yeah, come on. Now,
I,
ever since I put Chanel on the spot, she's never going to come back on the show now.
I just got to make sure I make sure I think about my picks ahead of
Yeah.
known better, and taking a tougher,
So I think
look over
you had Cheska and Christina in
as
in the
my
final.
top two contenders, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. I love Christina, but I don't know. I don't know how Cheska plays eight ball, though. I mean, obviously, it's got to be one of her.
Yeah.
She's got to play all the games great. I'm gonna pick Christina just because she has two in her pocket. I want to pick Jessica. Jessica was like my first thought.
I'm picking Cheska, so I'm thrilled you didn't pick her. I'm thrilled because I didn't want it to be both of us picking the same
Want to
the
be two
same
completely
lady to win.
different players in the final. Yeah.
Whoever gets there is going to be deserving for sure, because this is like uncomfortable and uncharted territory for everyone there,
Yeah.
which is awesome. So
It
I'm
is.
excited for the event. Um, Tell me where people can watch. I know you mentioned X Pool. Is it going to be on their page, or where can they where can fans watch it at?
I
Shanelle?
didn't see that it's going to be on their page, but I'm pretty sure it's got to be, along with the usuals for WPBA events, the WPBA YouTube channel, Billiard TV, if you've got any of those apps that have Billiard TV, and then Amazon Prime. It's our latest and greatest. So I think that's huge. Check out Amazon Prime Video and check out the Women's World 8-Ball Championship event, as well as all the other events going forward. So that's awesome. I think it's great partnership and a nice platform for all of our viewers to watch. So
Well, I always appreciate your time. You're always a fan favorite coming on here, Shanelle. And yeah, and I love that next level thinking when you're dissecting players and talking strategy in terms of who you're picking, because there's so many factors that play into it, not just who's ranked number one or whatever. So Chanel's got Christina, I got Cheska. Hopefully one of us is right, but if not, you're gonna make somebody else happy for sure. So thanks everybody for hanging out with us. You guys, I'll share all the Women's World 8-Ball Championship stuff on Windows Open, so make sure and keep your notifications on for that. I'll have a couple more shows before I head out to Quincy. I'm not sure who I got. Oh, I got Hydrid coming on, who's a wheelchair player. I think she represents the USA as well, so I got her on tomorrow, now that I think about it.
that's awesome. Congratulations to her as well, right? She just had a huge win. So
yeah, well, I'm trying to do more stuff, and there's so many like different avenues in pool. So like I want to, do as many as we can on there. But it's great when you have people that are willing to come on, like yourself or like Hydrid. I was talking with her while she was in Bucharest and wherever else. So I'm pumped to get her on, and just to kind of see the struggles and challenges that everyone faces, because everyone's got their own journey into it, whether it's a player like yourself or a player like Hydrid or Christina coming from overseas. I mean, there's so many layers to you ladies and y'all competing, so it's cool to kind of get a little bit of insight from that.
Well, thanks so much, and I appreciate you. I'm sure the rest of the pool world appreciates you as well, with having everyone on, putting all the information out there, covering pool, all the different faucets and venues, and different types of players, different games that there are. So definitely kudos to you too, Mike. We really appreciate it.
I appreciate it. I'm gonna hopefully your picks are right, because if not, I'm gonna air you out on Windows Open saying Shanelle got it wrong. No, I'm kidding.
Don't ask me again, right?
Yeah. All right. Enjoy your afternoon, Shanelle. Hopefully you guys